Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. My name is Kevin Griffith, and this is the Holler Barbecue. So today we're continuing on our journey to the holiday, and today I got a holiday roast for you. And what I have here is a choice graded loin strip roast is what this is. So basically this is where you get your New York strip steaks from. Same exact thing. Now I hold this as high as prime rib. To me, it's just as good as a piece of meat. But the reason I like this one better, you can see, we'll look at it here in a minute when we get out of the package, but the ribeye is very fatty. And for me, I just don't like chewing on much fat. Don't get me wrong, I do like a good ribeye, but if I can get a leaner piece of meat that is pretty much just the same flavor, I'll go with that. And that's what we got here. So I got this from a grocery store called Safeway. You can see that they had these on sale, pretty good deal. Regular price is around $12 a pound. They got it on sale for $7 a pound. And this is a 3.21 pound roast, and it came in at $22.44. Now, one piece of advice on these. So they had these on sale. I was looking on the shelf to get one, and I did not like any of the ones on the shelf. They just didn't look right. They had a whole lot more fat going through here. So I actually took it back to the butcher, and in their case, they had some New York strips all cut up that were really nice color, really nice marbling going through without that big chunk of fat in the middle. So I asked them, I said, what's the difference between these ones in the case and the ones on the shelf? And the guy was like, oh, the ones on the shelf are cut from the ends, and these steaks are cut from the middle. So I asked him, well, can you just cut me a roast out of the middle then? And that's what he did, same exact price. So I got a little bit better quality, I think. All right, guys, I got the strip roast out of the packaging. I've actually already got it trimmed up. So let me show you what I did. So you can see these things have like a pretty good layer of fat on top of them. I do not need that for this cook, so I'm actually getting rid of it. Now, if you want to leave that on while you cook, go ahead. It's not gonna hurt you. Some people like to leave that on because they like the fat, but that fat is blocking you from seasoning this side of the meat. And that fat, this stuff is thick. It's not going away. So I am hanging this in the pit barrel today, so it's not like I'm trying to protect the meat from heat or anything with the fat, because it's basically going to be hanging like this right here. So I don't need it, so I'm getting rid of it. And we're just going to season the entire thing and try to create a good bark all the way around it. All right, for getting this thing ready, we're going to be really simple today because this is a holiday type thing, and I'm not trying to be super complicated, especially if you're cooking this on Christmas. You don't want to be trying to, do all kind of different things to just get the meat ready. And pretty much it's going to come out close to the same anyway. So I'm going to start by putting just a little bit of oil on our meat here. This is just canola oil. Just a light coating. All right, so the first thing we're going to season up with is just some salt. So this is Jacobsen sea salt, real chunky salt. Just going to coat the outside with it. This is a fairly big piece of meat, so don't worry about over salting it too much. I do want to do all the different sides. Now most of the time these strip roasts come in a lot bigger than 3.5 pounds like this one. This is basically how big I told them to do it because, like I said, when I cook for you guys, this is stuff that we're eating And right now, I'm not cooking for a large quantity of people, so I didn't need one of the huge ones. But if you got a big one, you're gonna do it the same way, same exact way that I'm doing this. You would do a big one. All right, to continue building our flavors here, the last thing I'm gonna add is just some of this Montreal steak seasoning. This is McCormick's Grill Mate stuff. I know everyone's probably used it. It's got really good flavor, and it will add a really good bark to the meat. Same thing as the salt. You want to do all the sides. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is try to get this thing situated to where it will be as round as possible when we're cooking it. So a strip loin is kind of long. See how it is like this? And the problem is, I mean, we shouldn't have too much problem here because it's not going to be cooking that long. But your tips are a little bit thinner than the center portion, so they could actually get done before that. And then what we're trying to accomplish is have all the meat almost the same exact way. So what we're going to do is I'm going to squish it in like this so that it becomes more round. And then just take some butcher's twine and tie it together. See, it becomes more round now, which is going to cook a little bit better this way. Alright, sorry about this, guys. I must have hit the wrong button on my camera here because I ended up not recording how we're going to actually cook this thing. So this is one of Pit Barrel's smaller skewers you see going through the meat right here. And we'll just be hanging it in the Pit Barrel. So I'm going to let this sit just like this, and we're going to go get the smoker ready. Stay tuned. Alright guys, I want to show you the way that I'm lighting my Pit Barrel now. You know, the videos in the past you see me where I have basically my charcoal basket right here already down in the bottom, and then we get the charcoal going and I dump it on top of it. Now I'm not doing that anymore, only because of this. So you see my chimney I have here is a really big one, and when I dump it into the barrel, I can't turn it very good and actually pour it on top of these without making some of them bounce out the side or, you know, not spread out easy. So I end up having to stir them around right anyway. So what I started doing was just leave the charcoal basket outside, light my chimney. You can see right now this is about the way I like my charcoal to look when we start dumping it in. Now what I'm using in here is, if you're counting, which would be crazy if you did count, but there's approximately exactly 36 briquettes in here. So now I just take these, and now I can just, you know, spread them out very evenly. Always remember, this thing is hot. I have a war wound to prove it. Then for this, we don't need very much smoke for this cook. So I just have a small chunk of pecan, and I'm going to put basically right there. Now I have the pit grips from Pit Barrel, which blocks heat pretty good. So you want to do this really quick because it can still get kind of warm on your hand. But I just grab the handle here, and then just set it straight down in. Get our bars in. Finally get it closed up. And it's now ready to cook here in just a few minutes. Now I'm going to go in and get the meat and our meat thermometer. Alright guys, once again I apologize. I lost the clip of me actually putting the roast in the barrel. So I'm using Grilleye today to monitor the temperature. And the pit barrel's been hanging out around 300 degrees almost the entire time. We're taking this thing up to between 120 to 125 degrees, and that's when we'll pull it out. And then we'll basically cover it up and let it rest. So what you didn't see was me having to get the probes into the barrel. You have to take one of the bars out and actually poke it through the hole of the pit barrel to actually be able to get it in, to actually be able to see everything. And I'm just monitoring it from my iPad. Alright guys, we're going to make us a horseradish sauce to go with this strip loin roast. Before we do that, let's go over some temperatures real quick. So currently the pit barrel is running at 311 degrees and our roast is up to 57 degrees. Remember, we're taking the roast up to 120 degrees. Actually, let me set that up. That way, if I get busy and end up doing something else, this thing will remind me that I need to get out there and get it up. So the pit barrel, it usually runs between 275 and 310 degrees. So right now it's running on the hotter end, which isn't that big of a deal because we're watching the temperature of the meat itself. And the pit barrel, as I keep the lid on, don't look at it, it'll continue to drop over time and settle in at some point at some temperature. But I'll be okay if it runs at this temperature all the way, around 300 degrees. So whatever cooker you got, anywhere between 275, 300 degrees will work perfect. You can go longer if you want. If you want to go down to 250, it'll just going to take it a little bit longer to cook. So let's make this sauce. Alright, to make this horseradish sauce, I'm starting off with half a cup of sour cream. Then I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of this creamy horseradish sauce. Now this is like a pre-mixed one. It has the root, but it also has some other stuff in there. Let's see if we get that. So basically some oil. It's got vinegar, a little sugar, and other stuff in there. So a lot of the recipes call for you to add vinegar and that type of stuff in there, but we won't have to with this one. So we're just going to go ahead and add this. Then I have 1/4 a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 a teaspoon of pepper, and about 1/4 a teaspoon of garlic powder. Then half a teaspoon of paprika, this is going to give it a nice color. And if you're wondering, this is one of my favorite ones right here. It's this Hungarian style paprika. I like the smoked one too, but this is just more my favorite one here. And then just some chopped up chives, ever how much you want to add. Just stir it up real good. And there we go. Real simple recipe. I'm just going to put this in the refrigerator. I'm going to cover it up, put it in the refrigerator, and let it chill out until we're ready to eat. Alright, so I just tasted this, and it's a little bit on the strong side for me. So I'm going to cut it with just a little bit of ketchup to see if we can cut down the horseradish. The ketchup will help add just a little bit more sweeter flavor to it. Now, if you like, strong horseradish, leave the ketchup out. Let me taste that. Much better, much better. So that's a trick that I found. Like if your sauce is too strong, you can always cut it with ketchup, and it'll help tone it down a little bit. All right, let me get in the refrigerator. All right, guys, so we've been cooking about an hour and 40 minutes. As you can see, pit barrel's still running at 304 degrees, so it stayed about 300 the entire time. And the roast is sitting at 122 degrees, which is perfect for us to pull this off and get it wrapped up and let it continue heating itself up to about 130, 135. And that'll give us that perfect medium rare, should be all the way through the entire roast. Now, one thing I forgot to mention earlier was the probe I basically put down in the center, close to where the skewer is coming through, but not touching it, just very close to it. So it's time to get this thing off, and we'll get it all wrapped up. So let me go and get it out of here. You can see we got some really good color. These skewer things work really well for something like this. All right, let me get it in and get it wrapped up. Oh, let me show you what I'm putting it in. I'm basically just going to put it in one of these. This is just a cake pan. It's a metal one. It's going to help hold heat a little bit better. I'm going to get it wrapped up in aluminum foil, and I'll see you in about 45 minutes to an hour. So sit tight. Alright guys, here's the finished product. It's been resting about 45 to 50 minutes now since it came off the smoker. It was on the smoker for about an hour, 40, 45 minutes, somewhere around there. So it all depends on how big of a piece of meat you have, I suppose how long it's going to take. So this was a rather small one, so it didn't take that long. So let's go ahead and cut into it and see what we got. Alright, looks medium rare to me. So I'm cutting them. Let me show you how thick I will be cutting them. Not very thick, so about like that. So let me go ahead and cut all these up, and then we'll get one out and try it. Alright, so here they are all cut up. So now it's time to try them out. I'm going to get one from the inside here. Yeah, get a few slices here. Let me go ahead and try this one. Definitely nice and juicy. Got a really good flavor to it. Not too smoky. That's why I only used one little chunk of wood so that we wouldn't put too much smoke on it. Let's also try it with some of that sauce we made. Sauce is really good, especially since I cut it down with that ketchup to take some of that kick away. Alright guys, this is it for our holiday roast video. This is the New York strip roast. I hope you give it a try. It's a real simple recipe. It doesn't take much to put it together. An excellent meal, especially since this time of year everything's on sale. But as always, if you got any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And always, holler back.